The thing is, life used to be much simpler than this. All of the modern stresses have never needed to be here. Modern stresses back in the day were the fact that you had one pair of clothes and you didn't think it was going to last you the whole year because you'd already had 4 tears in it and the fabric wasn't very good. 200 years later, we've got too many clothes to find a place for because we can't afford a big enough house in the housing shortage. We live in a very stressed world. We live in a world where everyone thinks they need everything, when in reality, you need nothing. You don't need a phone. You don't need a bed. You don't need a 4-story house. All you need is land. Land, skills, and to be able to build equipment. Building equipment will get you so much further than owning equipment. If you own something, that can break, that can get lost, that can be destroyed. But if you have the skills to make something, all you ever do is hone in closer on that skill. You master it. The thing with society is they want you to specifically specify in a very small role in society, and they want you to stick to that until the day that you die by any choice of theirs. Imagine being a business owner. You don't want to have to find 10 workers for 5 of them to have a slave mentality and 5 of them to be free-spirited people who want to be able to move up the ladder or move on to the next job, or go, yeah, I'm just getting this job because I need some money while I'm getting education so that I can go get a proper job. And a proper job in this day is enough money to be able to pay off the debt that you made from the education of getting that nice education. But that in and of itself, education, is part of the whole slave system as well. The Muslims, man, not put it in any other way, they don't teach their children past a certain age. They don't teach their women, rather, shall I say, past a certain age. And that's in the belief that they don't need to learn as much because they haven't got as many responsibilities that require a high level of learning. Now, I know in the Western world that's different, and so we look at that as you're restricting their rights. But in the Western world, it was also always been traditional that the man goes out and works and the woman will stay at home doing female roles. Now, that's the same in a Muslim country, but their laws reflect that. We no longer have any laws that reflect the true nature of our country and the true spirit of the people. We've been modified, we've been adapted, we've been changed. We've been manipulated into a slave system. I could imagine that teaching my children how to survive out in the wild is going to be a whole lot quicker than 18 years of school, just so that they can go get a shitty job and work for our minimum wage elitist for the rest of their lives until they eventually get decided upon as not worthy for life anymore, or deemed that living in a box is going to be a better option, feeding off of bugs and fake meat. Not that I can imagine our budgets would really allow for that in the future. Going back to the primitive way, you can still do that right this second. It's called modern self-reliance. And modern self-reliance is having your own farm. It's putting out a pot with tomatoes to grow. so that you can save however many couple of quid on those tomatoes. And you know what you do? You don't go pay for a pack of fucking seeds. We spent £2 on 2 packets, £2 each, on 2 packets of strawberry seeds, and I had 9 seeds in each packet. Do you know how many strawberries I would have got for £4? Even if I'd skinned those strawberries and just ate the flesh on the inside, I still would have had food out of that money. And a hell of a lot more fucking food out of it. It's like anything. They modify our foods so that all of the seeds, they don't bear anything. They're duds. They're dead. There's no nutrients left in the fruit. There's no nutrients left in the vegetables. It's all been bred out so that we have the biggest or most cleanest or most consistent looking foods that lack any health, that lack anything good for your body. Whereas what you could do is you could walk out into your garden right now, you could go pick some daisies, you could go pick some dandelion, you can go pick a stinging nettle from the corner of your garden. That right there is the best, healthiest meal you'll ever have in the modern world. But they would like you to believe, using the new food pyramid, that you'd be much better off eating a slice of cake or a loaf of bread with some water. Slave mentality. It's a slave system that we're all forced into. Now I know I keep pressing on this slave, but that is what we have been forced upon us. We have no control over the future. We have no control over the current situation. The biggest, elitist, most powerful, most richest, they are all after us. So you better get back in touch with nature, because this world isn't the real world. And soon enough you'll all realise that. When your main priority isn't paying the tax man enough money so that you've got enough money to eat and keep your family alive, the issue will be, what do I eat? Where do I find food? How do I clean water so that I don't die of infection? And when you think about it, they're extremely easy things to do. And when life relies on 2 things, water and food, I'm surprised that people work their asses into the ground every single day when they don't need to. The system has been built to make you want and need to. The biggest threat to a government who want to corporise and taxize everything, the biggest threat to that government is the money. If you don't need to work for your food, then you can get a part-time job, because all you need to do is pay off for your house. But if you don't need a house and all you need is a little piece of land, then you can pay your tax on that land. And then you can build your own house using bricks that you made yourself, using dirt that you found on that land, and sticks that you burn on that land. The average person doesn't know this, but I like playing this game quite often. I'll walk out into a field, I'll just go out somewhere, I'll be out on a walk, and I'll turn to my wife and I'll be like, how much food can you see around us? And oftentimes, if you're standing in a local park or near a river, you have enough food in your eyesight to survive you the rest of your fucking life. The thing is, people don't know what to look for. And that's why I'm here. We can all walk through our days completely oblivious to all of the wonders around us, being forced to believe a certain narrative and a certain worldview a certain political stance, or we can open our eyes to what's around us and look at everything at face value. Eat that plant on the floor. Just a little nibble. Does it make you sick? Does it make your tongue go all tingly? Does it give you diarrhea after a couple of hours? That's the real world. That's the learning curves you want to go through. You don't want to get fired from your job because the business is going to shit, or because we want to change location. So now, you may have been working with us for however many years, but here's $1,000 and I'm going to chuck you out on the street. A government that is a threat to its people, that look at its people as a way to make money. A government like that does not want you being able to feed yourself for free. Every purchase you make gets taxed by somebody. That business will have to pay tax on their earnings. The tax man has his hand in every pocket. Imagine a simpler life where you make your own traps, you make your own homes, you collect your own water. These are very simple things, but they will keep you alive when everybody else is rotting away. When there is no way to hide, you'll have a place to hide from the rain. And you don't need any tools to make it. You don't even need rope to keep yourself safe from the elements. But I tell you, learning to make that rope will open up a whole new box for you. It may take time. It may be painstaking. Your hands will get blisters. But when you can sit there and make a meter of rope in half an hour, you won't be moaning with the things that you managed to build and the things you managed to procure from that. Learn how to hit stones together, the correct type of stones to make a spark, to create a fire. Use those same types of stones, glass breaking stones, as a way to make a sharper blade than a knife scalpel. It's very possible. That's how our ancestors got us to this point today, where we're all ungrateful. But truly, we're not ungrateful. We're forced to want too much. I don't hear a person out here saying, I want to work this many hours my whole life for the rest of my life every single day so that I can scrape by with what society says I should own. If your day was full of doing the basic survival needs, how long would it take you to walk into a field and pick a basket worth of vegetables? It wouldn't take you very long. If you sat there for half an hour and cut a couple L7 notch traps, and you walked down to the river and you set them up with a little bit of rope, how much food do you think you can make from those traps over time? A lot more than the government want you to. For a fishing license for freshwater fish in the UK, it'll cost you £85 a year. The reason why it's that high is because they don't want you profiting. For instance, what I mean by that is if you catch £50 worth of fish, the government profit off of you. A lot. If you catch £100 worth of fish, they're going to be a little bit more lenient, but they're not going to be happy. So they have to make their money. They have to find their way to make money. Which is why fishing isn't a way to feed yourself anymore, because it would be cheaper to go to the grocery store and buy your own fish. Along with the fact that set traps aren't legal in the UK. So even if you own the land, you can't just walk away from your fishing rod and come back in a couple hours to check it, because then you've abandoned your line, and that's illegal. So the laws are set in specific ways to penalise you, even on your own land, for doing very basic things that have got humanity to where it is. Now I understand why laws are in place. I'm not stupid. The thing is, when laws become overbearing and purposely put in there to oppress its people into not knowing what is legal and what is illegal anymore, into the point where its citizens will suppress every part of themselves to be the ideal slave, to admit that a man is now a woman just because it says so. I think all is to be said now. I think all that I can say now. Right. All I can say now is it's 4:30 in the morning, and I'm fed up with talking about the government. We need to get back to the old ways of life. We need to get back to blacksmithing. Simple.